So I just watched back the video that I did 6 weeks ago, talking about how I had just left my job and I was going through kind of like an identity crisis and just not knowing where I was supposed to be or what was next, and just kind of vibrating in a place of such fear. And it was crazy because the reason I left my job was that I felt it so strongly. I kept getting signs. I would be at church and something would be said that would just like resonate with me so strongly. It happened 3 times. And one of the days I just felt it so much, and I knew in that moment that I had to leave. And it was scary because I didn't have any definite plans or even idea of what I wanted to do next. I had been at a music management company for about a year, and I always knew I wanted to work in music. I loved hip-hop since I was a little kid, and I just felt like I was supposed to be in LA and doing something with it. And I've loved marketing, I love photography, I love pretty much just anything creative. And I didn't know exactly what that would mean or what that would translate into, but I just followed it, and I came out here and I ended up getting this opportunity and working for an amazing woman and having a great experience, and definitely ups and downs, and learning a lot about the industry, being with a pretty small management company but managing a couple big artists. And I think towards the end I started to realize that that wasn't what I truly wanted to do. I didn't really like management that much, and I thought about my boss and if I would want her job eventually, and the answer was no. And I realized that I really wanted to be doing something more creative, and I still wanted it to be in music and marketing and all the things that I loved, but I didn't know exactly what that was. It's not like these job descriptions are just like typical. You kind of have to maneuver around and really find a place where you fit. And when I left, I went into this like super dark place for maybe 2 weeks, where it doesn't sound like a lot, but it just felt crazy. And it was like I had this like break in my identity where it's like, okay, well, you're no longer tied to this. Like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? What do you want to do? Like, when people, that's all people ask you out here. Like, what do you do? How old are you? Like, that's it. Like, it's so, living in LA is so crazy. The things that are so typical and that you just hear all the time, you can kind of get caught up in that sometimes, as much as you try not to. And I realized when I recorded my last video and I just talked about the importance of being in a really high vibration and just practicing gratitude and love for other people and operating from that place, and not tying your identity to what you do or what you wear or what you drive, and being really just adamant about that and living a life of service rather than what can I have, what can I get. And after I kind of went through that, I had it was kind of a crazy experience. I ended up getting an interview at Interscope, and it was for an assistant A&R position for 2 really big A&Rs. And I went in and I felt really confident about it, like had an amazing first couple interviews, and I was like, okay, like I have this in the bag, it's definitely mine. And a couple days later, I had gone to Vegas, and I came back and I started to have really bad anxiety about the position, and just like I started to feel really weird about it, and I ended up not getting it, and I was so upset for like an hour. And then I thought about it and I realized, like, is this really what you wanted, or were you wanting this position out of fear? And I realized, like, in that moment it was out of fear. Like, yeah, it would be really cool to work at Interscope, yeah, it would be cool kind of to be an assistant A&R, but do I want to be an A&R? Like, is that what I want to work towards? And the answer is no. Like, that's not really where my passion lies. I love music, but marketing and other things are really where my passion lies. And I was able in that moment to say thank you and just realize that something bigger and better was coming, and that I was on the right track. And it was crazy being in the Interscope office, because they're like, you're so qualified for this position. The HR guy had said that to me, and it hadn't occurred to me before that I would be. Like, that sounds so weird, but I feel like sometimes we kind of put ourselves in a box and we think, okay, well, this is my experience, I can only do this or I can only do that. but something about the opportunity gave me like a boost in confidence, and I realized that the right job was on the way for me. And I also realized that I couldn't stress it, and that I couldn't just put all that energy into it, because whatever is right for me and is for my highest good, because that's what I prayed for, that was gonna come to me. And I understood that in that moment. And I had been listening to Deepak Chopra's The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and he talks a lot about the law of least effort, and kind of having a desire, giving it up to God, and then just like taking action in any direction that makes sense, and letting things just manifest without having all that worry and all that attachment to it. Because I realized even with the Interscope position, like I had an attachment to it. And when you have that, you really can't manifest what's best for you. So I realized that I would just write down my desires, and I was going to let it go and give it up to God. And I did, and I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I really wanted a highly creative position. I wanted a lot of freedom. I wanted to work in a really cool environment where I was respected and just could be friends with people, and really just feel happy about where I was. And I also, I had written down that I wanted to be able to dress however I wanted, and like not have a super long commute, just all these different things. And I didn't know what exactly that would be, but I was like, okay, I trust, like I have total faith. And in the Deepak book, he talks about fulfilling your dharma, which is expressing your unique gifts and talents to the world, or in service, expressing your unique gifts and talents in service to the world. So I prayed on that every day. How can I express these gifts and talents? And I realized also that in this case, I had to take action. And if I want to be a creative person and I want a creative position, well, what can I do now? I can create and I can serve now. So I started recording things. I did a photo shoot, which was definitely facing a big fear. I had never done that before, and it came out amazing. I started just like going out and talking to people, and talking to a bunch of homeless people, and just going and bringing popsicles to a mental health center, like just like things where it was like, okay, how can I serve in this moment? What action can I take that will bring up my vibration and will make me happy and allow me to serve? And I did that, and I just became really happy. And I was also doing the book The Magic, where it's an intense focus on gratitude. And in the darkness, it was like I still realized like everything I had to be grateful for. And I just couldn't even believe like all the people that supported me during that time, and that just helped me in any way, like just with support, if I needed money, like anything. Like I was feeling just so depleted, and I realized like, oh my God, I have this support system around me. I have all these friends and family that are just incredible. I'm so blessed. Like, what am I doing? Why am I sitting around and feeling sorry for myself? I have to get up and I have to just do what I can. I have to do my part, and God will do the rest. And so I did. And a few days later, I was talking to a friend of mine who works at Young and Reckless. And when I had left my job, I had realized, okay, well, I still want to be able to do creative things. I want to be able to write. I want to be able to do photos, whatever it is. So I had seen him, and I realized like he's just such a dope person. And I didn't think that he was even able to see how dope he was. So I told him, like, let me do a bio for you. Like, you have so many things going for you. I want to be able to like put it down on paper and let you see. So I just did it, and I gave it to him, and he was kind of like, whoa, like I've never even really seen myself like that. And he appreciated it. And then he was working on some other clothing line, and he had asked me to like help him out doing a couple things. So I just did it because I love stuff like that, and I love to be able to help. And if you're a friend, or even just anybody, if you need something, like I'm happy to do it. And all of a sudden, as soon as I was able to let go of the whole thing at Interscope and just realize, okay, what's for my highest good is going to come, my friend started talking to me about, you need to come work for me at Young and Reckless. And at first I'm like, okay, whatever, like literally not thinking anything of it, even in my own mind, like still being stubborn, like, no, I want to work in music, like I don't want to work in fashion. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was talking about like acquiring skills and like different experiences and being open to stuff. And I was thinking about what she said, and I was thinking about my friend talking about Young and Reckless, and at the very moment I was thinking about it, he texted me. So instead of just laughing it off, I was like, oh, I was actually just thinking about that. And he was like, well, when do you want to come in for an interview? So it kind of just happened like completely out of the blue. And I ended up sitting down with him, and he told me about the position, and my jaw dropped because it was for a marketing assistant. So it's doing marketing, social media, working with artists, like even like looking at new talent and reaching out to people, and like brand collaborations and photo shoots and video shoots and pretty much everything that I love to do. And I never saw it. Like I didn't even see it almost as an option. It was like it was hid from me until I was ready. But I ended up going in, interviewing, and I got the position, and I've been working there for the last couple days, and it's just crazy because it's incredible. Like going into this environment and just working with amazing people, being in the most relaxed environment. You can wear whatever you want. Like I was at a photo shoot, video shoot on my 3rd day there, like given responsibility, like given freedom and just respect and just everything that I could ask for. And looking back at that feeling that I had a couple months ago that was so strong about quitting my job, and seeing it now and seeing what happens when you're willing to give something up and to trust that something better will come, it just blows my mind, because it's been happening with everything. Like it happened with my apartment, it happened with my car, with my friends, with like just pretty much everything. Like when you are willing to give up what's not for your highest good, and then be patient and just acknowledge that there is something better, and also just deciding that you're going to live in service instead of living, I guess, selfishly and I want. It's like, well, what does God want? Like how can you serve? Where do you belong? And there is a place, and I feel like for every single person, like there are unique gifts and talents that we have, and we're supposed to express them. And when you can kind of push through that fear and not put your whole identity into what you're doing right now, or what you're driving right now, or how you're living right now, like being willing to just take those chances and to be bold and to just kind of leap. Like even the day that I left my job, I was like, the day before I quit, I was inspired to paint, and I was just like, leap and the net will appear. And I've always lived by that, but doing it in that moment, it was so scary. But I see it now, and I see the rewards, and I just see the gift in it. And I would just encourage anybody who feels that way to follow that, because I don't know, I feel like anything less than that is a disservice to yourself. It's a disservice to God, and it's not living up to your highest potential. So I think being able to check in and to see, like, am I happy? Like, am I respected? Am I doing the things that I love is so important, because when you're honest with yourself, you're able to make adjustments. And I can say 2 months out, like, I'm happier than I've ever been, and I'm just so grateful that I had the courage to follow that feeling and to make that decision.